Hey everyone, hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shelly, and today I'm going to be this whole week, I'm going to be doing something quite different for me. This is not the usual for me, but I'm going to let Wes Anderson inspire my reading, my outfits, and my activities for the week. Now, it all started when a few days ago I was feeling quite lackluster with my wardrobe. I sometimes wear the exact same outfit or the same kind of outfit for days and days at a time. Often it is comfy bottoms, whether they be comfy jeans, comfy linen pants, comfy baggy pants, a t-shirt, and a sweatshirt since it's gotten cold. And I was really not feeling myself. I was really feeling uninspired in my wardrobe, in my body, in my soul. And so I decided that because I'm on a no-buy, instead of doing that thing where I go out and I buy something to make me feel good, I would draw inspiration from an artist, and one of my favorite visual artists, as he is for basically everybody, is Wes Anderson. And so actually the first thing on my list, and then I decided to lean into this idea, the first thing on my list is to recreate a Wes Anderson style photo. And so I employed my husband to do some bonding time with me, and like actual like heart to heart, getting to know each other better kind of time, not bondage, in case, oh, Shelly, what's going on? I just, sometimes I worry that I'm going to be misinterpreted here. And so I employed him for us to do like a little photo session, which is something we actually do quite often. And so I filmed that, and then I decided it's a little bit of reverse engineering here, okay? So I decided to let Wes Anderson inspire our photo shoot, and we decided to recreate a photo, and we definitely had our own take on the photo, but we were inspired by Wes Anderson throughout the entire process. And I will let past Shelly explain her thoughts about the photo and the inspiration and how that went. And then I decided to lean into this idea and let Wes Anderson inspire my week. So with a little bit of thinking and a little bit of planning, I came up with 7 prompts, and you can do this too. Please do this if you also want to feel inspired with your wardrobe, your reading, your activities. And yeah, so I would highly encourage you to do this challenge, let's say, and I have 7 prompts to inspire us. So the first prompt, which I already did, and you will see in just a moment, is to recreate a Wes Anderson style photo. And of course you can look at, he's got a very specific aesthetic point of view. And so recreating his stuff is really, really fun. And so, just looking on Google Images, looking on Pinterest for Wes Anderson-y kind of things. And it doesn't even have to be you yourself. There is a whole blog called Accidentally Wes Anderson, and there are shots of buildings and flat lays that are very much inspired by Wes Anderson. So recreate a Wes Anderson style photo. My next prompt is to dive into my art books. A lot of his movies are inspired by art, especially the Grand Budapest Hotel, in which the whole thrust of the plot is about Boy with Apple, the painting that is being fought over by a bunch of the characters in the movie. And so knowing that Wes Anderson, first of all, has a very aesthetic and particular kind of point of view aesthetically, and obviously really, really appreciates art in that he incorporates that into the way that he films and into the way that he, moves the camera around and with his flat lays and things like that. But also that often his movies harken back to art. Whether it be Boy with Apple, whether it be the playwrights or the writers in as characters in his movies, and things like that. My next one is to create 5 Wes Anderson inspired outfits this week. So I'm gonna say that the week started on, what is today? Today is Sunday. And I'm going to say that the week started on Friday because that's when we did the photo shoot. So this is my second day of, you know, creating a Wes Anderson inspired outfit. And my inspiration was, in a lot of ways, it was, what is the movie called? I can't remember. The movie is Moonrise Kingdom. It's not my favorite Wes Anderson movie, which is probably why I forgot the title. But I noticed in Moonrise Kingdom, which is has a lot of Boy Scouts in it, that there is a lot of matching outfits and a lot of being quite buttoned up. So I married the matching outfits, mostly from the Boy Scouts in Moonrise Kingdom, with the makeup of the young gal in that movie. She wears a lot of dark eyeliner, very much like Margot Tenenbaum in the Royal Tenenbaums. And so, and then I have knee socks, or socks that go up to my knees, and I'll wear Oxfords. If I do put on shoes today, I'll probably stay in my slippers. And yeah, this is my sort of second outfit inspired by Wes Anderson. My next prompt is to read Fantastic Mr. Fox. Because of this, here's the deal. Wes Anderson is such a, I don't want to say he's like an aesthetic snob, because he's not, but a lot of the literature in his movies is made up. He's so into his own world building that he makes up his own books as well. And so there are some flat lays of books in a suitcase. I'll try and put up a picture somewhere so that you can see what I'm referencing. And those are not real books. That's something that Wes Anderson or his team created. And they're doing little nods to Isaac Asimov in this particular photo. But a lot of the literature referenced is just the literature as part of the world of Wes Anderson. So the only book that I could tell that is actually real that is in a Wes Anderson movie is Fantastic Mr. Fox, for which he, you know, makes that into a stop motion animation movie. So I figured if I'm going to be doing Wes Anderson, you know, if I'm going to be doing Wes Anderson proud, the only book I can read that inspired Wes Anderson, according to what I could find in my internet research, is Fantastic Mr. Fox by Roald Dahl. So my plan is to read that this week. I'm going to watch one Wes Anderson movie. It might be Fantastic Mr. Fox because that is a movie I can watch with my children. But a few others, my two other favorites are Rushmore. I love Rushmore. I love it so much. I don't know. There's something about early Wes Anderson and the way that he has to like make things work that is just charming. There's something really charming about it. And though I think aesthetically, his aesthetic gets stronger as his career moves forward, and the visual point of view gets only stronger and more pronounced when his budget grows, there's something about those early movies that are just, I don't know, there's just something gritty, and with that grittiness, I find it very, 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 very charming. My next one, the next prompt is to read a play. So Max in Rushmore, the main character in Rushmore, is a playwright, and he ends up getting into Rushmore on a scholarship, and then at the very end of the movie, which is not a spoiler, I don't think it's a spoiler, I won't say that, you know, in case you haven't watched Rushmore, but basically Max is a playwright, and that is part of his personality throughout the movie of Rushmore. And then also Margot Tenenbaum in the Royal Tenenbaums is a playwright, and she was so as a little girl. And so I figured to sort of do Wes Anderson proud, right? I would also read a play, and I have quite a few plays to choose from. I'm not sure which one I'm going to choose, and I'm not going to devote myself to a play right now, because whenever I say I'm going to read something for a vlog, I've tried so many vlogs, y'all. And whenever I commit myself to reading anything in particular, it always ends up falling apart. Like, it falls so flat. It's just a mess. And then my last thing is going to be bake something or do something in the kitchen. And I have a very specific outfit that I want to wear when I bake or do something in the kitchen. Mostly what I'm thinking about when it comes to baking or being in the kitchen, I'm thinking about the movie Fantastic Mr. Fox, in which Mrs. Fox spends time in the kitchen, in their home in the tree. But also when they do their thieving in that movie, they're thieving, you know, food items. So, so that was part of the inspiration. And then the other one is one of the main characters in the Grand Budapest Hotel. She is a patisserie, you know, she works in a patisserie. And so I figured baking something, doing something in the kitchen while wearing a specific outfit that is a nod to Mrs. Fox in Fantastic Mr. Fox and the young lady in the Grand Budapest Hotel, that would be like a really fun little challenge and a little part of this video. So those are my prompts, the 7 prompts. I will also leave them down below in case you all are really inspired to do a Wes Anderson inspired week. That would be wonderful if we can all kind of come together and all be inspired by a really fun artist and do this together. But anyways, I'm going to go, and I guess at this point, I will roll the footage that I took on Friday night when this project, I didn't know this project was going to last a week, when unknowing Shelley was being inspired by Wes Anderson of the past. Shelley of the past is being inspired by Wes Anderson, which thus is inspiring this video and the rest of the week. All right, so let's roll that footage. Hey everyone, hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm clearly doing something really different, and it is going to be more in the realm of no by November. I was about to say no by July, but no by November. And so here's the deal. I am not tempted necessarily, I'm not always tempted to buy books. I also love buying fashionable things, makeup-y things. I love all of that. However, I'm in kind of a weird place in life in that I am a stay-at-home mom. A lot of my work is done in the home, and I am a severe, I am an outfit repeater to the max. And the thing is that I have this incredible closet of clothes and pieces that I have been wearing, that I've been collecting for years and years. And it's a bummer because I don't wear those clothes anymore. A lot of them are dresses and beautiful items that, you know, really kind of make me feel my best and make me feel myself kind of thing. And I'm just not doing a lot of that. A lot of it is, you know, jeans and t-shirts, comfy pants. As my 3-year-old would say, you know, I want to wear my comfy pants, lots of sweatshirts, and I've kind of had it. And with so sometimes my knee-jerk reaction when I've had it with myself and the sweatshirts and the comfy pants, my knee-jerk reaction is to go out and buy something so that I can feel inspired. But I'm fighting those feelings by looking at imagery that has been inspiring to me. And so the imagery that I'm taking inspiration from today is Wes Anderson, the cinematographer, the man with a vision, typically a very I don't know, he's kind of got this like aesthetic 1960s vision. And so I've enlisted my husband to help me recreate a picture inspired by Wes Anderson, and more specifically Royal Tenenbaums, who is one of the characters in the Royal Tenenbaums. She is most noted for wearing these, I think they're called tennis or t-shirt dresses. So they're not bodycon, but they're straight up and down dresses that have sleeves and a t-shirt neckline. It almost looks like a t-shirt that's a little bit longer. She wears those with Oxfords without any socks, which I've been analyzing the photos. I've been analyzing these photos to see how does she dress? And for the most part, she wears these those t-shirt dresses. And then, of course, there's the classic photo when she is sitting there and she's got that big fur coat on, and, you know, the finger, because she cuts her finger off, or her finger gets cut off, you know, her wooden finger. Anyways, so she's, you know, she's got this very specific aesthetic, but I'm not going to be trying to recreate the photos. Recreate her outfits rather. I'm going to be just drawing inspiration from her aesthetic, using the things that I have in my closet and trying to essentially achieve a Wes Anderson-like look using the items I own in my own closet. And then my husband's going to be taking some photos of me so that it's just, we like to collaborate on photos sometimes. So I am at the part where I'm putting on some makeup. Her signature look is like this really inky dark eyeliner. And so I'm going to try and get that done. And then she's got this really, she has this really like straight bob. But again, I can't like grow my hair out, and I'm not going to put extensions in. That, like, who am I? No. So I'm going to like just do the really severe part right here and put a clip in. And again, it's more about getting the vibes of what she's doing and her attitude in those photos versus trying to recreate it exactly. Taking inspiration from Margot rather than recreating her outfit. So I have my brown oversized coat on, and yeah, here, let me show you the rest of the outfit. All right, let's go take some pictures. So my week of Wes Anderson is over, and I had a lot of fun. So I'm going to talk you through what I ended up doing for the rest of the proms. And gosh, it was great. It was really, really great. Now, the first one was to dive into my art books, and to fulfill this prompt, I perused the Henry Darger book that we own. Henry Darger was an artist who was completely unknown in his lifetime, and his art was found after his death by, I think, a neighbor. And the art is absolutely incredible. I'll show you some of it. Now, Darger was, like I said, a completely self-taught, completely unknown in his lifetime, and he was a self-taught artist. He was very much a recluse, and I love his color, like his color palette that he chose. It's very muted. It's very, very beautiful in my opinion. And it has this like tangible vintage quality to it. And the characters are also hearkening back to like 1940s, 1950s, maybe even the 1930s. And he used old ads to help create his characters. Very interesting. Some of his work is a bit strange. And there's a lot of, speculation as to who he was as a person, but it was really cool to like revisit one of my favorite artists and to dive into that color and that world that he built. At this point, you probably should have seen a couple of the Wes Anderson inspired outfits that I wore. I did indeed create a couple of more outfits. Unfortunately, I'm a terrible vlogger. I'm a terrible person. I am really bad at putting multiple days together of footage, because what I do is I accidentally delete footage. And so that's indeed what happened. So I had some footage of me baking, which is one of the prompts, and I had some footage of my outfits. But, we have a guest. Do you want to sit with me? No, he wants to give me a kiss. Hey, can you not touch, please? Don't touch that. So anyways, I'll definitely show you the outfits you'll see. So one of the outfits that I created was inspired by color. So Wes Anderson, in some of his movies, especially his earlier ones, he's really into primary colors. So that true red, true blue, and true yellow. And even when people recreate the Wes Anderson font and color, they do Futura font or a vintage looking font with a yellow, color to make it look Wes Anderson-y. And so I wore my huge oversized sweater. This was very much inside of my comfort zone. this huge neon yellow sweater with, you know, colorful socks, and it was my nod to Wes Anderson, but it was also a nod to the fact that I didn't really want to go outside of my comfort zone that day and wear something truly funky. So that's what I ended up wearing, and of course, like, I love myself in bright colors, so I was really feeling myself that day. And then the other outfit that I wore was very much a nod to Mrs. Fox at Fantastic Mr. Fox, that movie. She wears a very conservative, like, knee-length dress that is tailored at the waist, and it's just that very, like, conservative look. I think it's an A-line dress. I'm not sure. Don't ask me about the actual names of fashion stuff. But it's also a nod to the young girl in the patisserie of the Grand Budapest Hotel. And while I wore that outfit, I made custard tarts with fruit on top and a jam glaze, which the glaze I don't think really turned out, but the tarts were delicious, especially the custard. I would do it a little bit differently because I am a baker at heart, and so I'm always sort of tinkering with my recipes. But it was really fun to wear this dress with the apron. I felt like I had just stepped out of a Wes Anderson movie, and if I was going out into the world, I would have worn my Oxfords without socks, because that's actually something that I learned from this experiment. My Oxford shoes without socks, or like with hideaway socks, is such a comfortable and classy look. I've owned these Oxfords, oh my gosh, I've owned these Oxfords for years, and I have had trouble pairing them with outfits. They're like little glam Oxfords, you know? And so my guest is wrecking havoc over here. So anyways, one thing that I learned was that the Oxfords with socks, or with hideaway socks or without socks, is a very, like, cool girl look, at least in my opinion. As I said, my little guest is wrecking havoc over here, so it's all right, it's all right. I did end up watching Fantastic Mr. Fox. Now, it was kind of playing in the background while I did other things, but I did catch some of my favorite moments from it. I am not a movie watcher. I am not a television watcher. Ask anyone who's really close to me. Television is not my bag. Movies are not my bag. It's hard. It's just, the struggle is real for me to sit through an entire movie or to sit through an entire television show. And I don't binge. I almost exclusively do not binge a television show. I don't know. I haven't done it in years. I used to, but not anymore. So yeah, so there's that. So I did watch Fantastic Mr. Fox. I kind of went down a rabbit trail for a moment. And it's just a great movie. And actually, I did read Fantastic Mr. Fox by Roald Dahl. Now, here's what's interesting. The book is very simple. The book is actually a short story, and the book is about a third of what the movie ended up being. So the movie, it has more characters, it's more complex. There is a lot more fleshing out of who all of the characters are and their motivations. There is a lot more, like, playfulness. There's actually a lot more characters in the movie. And so it was interesting to see, or to know, or to discover rather, that the movie is an expansion. It's it plays on the book, what the book is doing, but it takes it to another level. And for that reason, and probably because I know the movie a lot better than the book, and I started with the movie, I like the movie better. I also think aesthetically, Wes Anderson is at the top of his game, because he's able to control absolutely everything, because it is stop motion animation. And so just like even that opening scene, it's just absolute perfection. And so and the voice acting in it is fantastic. So anyway, so after reading the book, I admired the movie even more. And I was really happy to have, actually read the book, and so I could compare the two. The final prompt is to read a play. And so I decided to read A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. And oh my goodness. Okay, first of all, I'm going to say that this was a recommendation from my friend George. He loves her, and so I was even more inspired to, I bought it because he loves her, and then I wanted to read it also so that, you know, I can discuss. If I ever follow through on my emails, I could discuss this with George. But anyways, A Raisin in the Sun, I think the most famous performance is Sidney Poitier's version of it, well, where he is playing the protagonist, the main character, and does an incredible performance of our main character, who is of Walter. I did read it. I just, names in books don't always stick. This is the story of a 3 generations of a Black family living in a small apartment in Chicago, and their struggle for money, the perceptions of themselves, their dynamics, and how complicated those dynamics are, and just the way it plays out is really, really fascinating. This has climbed to one of my top reads of the year, one of my top classic reads of the year. This was originally published, I believe, in 1959. Let me double check. The oldest copyright date is 1958, and this is a stage performance. And what was really interesting right off the bat is that Lorraine Hansberry's descriptions of the room, for which only the director and the actors would be reading, or the stagehands would be reading, and they're just so beautiful. Let me read you a passage. Mind you, this is a description. This is not a narration in which the audience would absorb. This is just how to get the room to look the right way. And this is what she says: "Weariness has, in fact, won in this room. Everything has been polished, washed, sat on, used, scrubbed too often. All pretenses but living itself has long since vanished from the very atmosphere of this room." I mean, gosh, isn't that just gorgeous? So, wow, I don't think this is the end between me and Lorraine Hansberry. I don't have any more of her plays, but I'm going to definitely check out and see what other things she's done. And if you've never read A Raisin in the Sun or watched the movie, I would highly recommend reading this or watching the movie, because I feel like I've watched it, but I'm not sure. I remember Sidney Poitier in one of those seminal scenes delivering a great performance, but now I'm doubting myself as to whether I've actually seen the Sidney Poitier in the role of A Raisin in the Sun. But anyways, I've heard it's amazing. I know the play itself is fantastic, and I really highly encourage anybody to read it. And yeah, and so here are my final thoughts about my week in which Wes Anderson inspired my reading and some activities. I loved this. I really enjoyed this. I sometimes have a difficult time diving. It sounds weird to say that I have a hard time diving outside of my comfort zone, because I read a whole bunch of different things all of the time. But sometimes if I have to read, or sometimes it's hard for me to actually get up the gumption to read something like a play, because a play is not something I would naturally gravitate towards. And so I'll just put it off, and it's easier to say, I'll read you later, I'll read you later, I'll read you later, I'll read you later. But when I actually made my checklist and then wanted to complete the checklist, it really kind of put a fire in my soul to pick up a play. And it really, I had been meaning to read Fantastic Mr. Fox for years, because I knew it wasn't long. I knew I loved the movie, and yet I kind of sloughed it off. And so it was really cool to finally read Fantastic Mr. Fox, you know? So in terms of reading, I thought it was highly successful. I dug into a book that I own, an art book that I own, and I read a couple of things that I've wanted to read for a while. Now, as far as activities go, I think the most challenging one for me was actually the 5 Wes Anderson inspired outfits, because it really pushed me to think outside of what I would normally wear. I had to analyze Wes Anderson's outfits and decide what elements could work with my fashion and what I owned, and then recreate that on myself and then wear that and feel comfortable in it. So that was kind of an interesting facet to this whole week, because there was a lot of outfits that I just wouldn't have put together. Now, I liked everything that I wore. Some of them felt a little funkier than others. And I actually decided that I really quite like the dark eyeshadow all the way around the eye. I thought that was such a cool look. And it's not one that I would have ever worn if I didn't do this experiment. And then, of course, just a couple of the other things I loved, I loved baking, which is something I would normally do. And it was really fun to bake while having Wes Anderson on the mind. And of course, recreating the photo shoot, which is what had started it all, was just amazing. So I would say that this is a highly successful experiment for me. I really enjoyed it. I actually would love to do this with another artist or maybe another author or another icon, have them inspire my week. And I really enjoyed coming up with prompts that I felt excited about. So yeah, I know that might be kind of selfish, but anyways, I would really encourage you to try this out for yourself. If you don't like my prompts, I would say throw them out and start anew. If you don't like the artist that I chose, I would say throw them out and start with somebody that you really are inspired by. I could imagine somebody doing this with Beyonce. I could imagine someone doing this with Faulkner. I could imagine someone doing this with, you know, another artist or icon that you are really inspired. I mean, you know, Billie Eilish. I don't really know. Taylor Swift. I'm not a Swiftie. I don't even know what they're called. I don't really listen to Taylor Swift. But anyways, point is, I could see someone doing this with an icon that they love and pulling elements that would challenge and kind of shake up your week, you know? Like, I think that's what was fun about it, is that I wasn't just doing what I normally do. I had this other little person, this little spirit almost, guiding my choices for the week. And that was really, really fun and really enjoyable. I want to ask, if you were to do this for yourself, who would you choose for your icon, for your artist? Who would you be inspired by? And if I were to do this again, who would you like to see me be inspired by? Also, did you like this video? I want to know. Please tell me. Please let me know. I would love to know. And yeah, let me just give me all the details, comments, questions, inquiries, all of the stuff. I just want to know. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye guys.